everybody. Welcome to Tuner Talk. We're going to try something a little different now that our friend Jason is back here. Mostly
walking around a little bit,
mostly gimping in here. We're going to talk about what everybody's talking about, which is the new Supra. Myself, unfortunately, you're not going to go, but
no.
The Spool Boys are going with us to Detroit this weekend to actually see this thing in real life. And I've watched a lot of reviews on it. Everybody's talking about it. I want to look at it from a different perspective. I want to see exactly what the real story is. I want to talk to a Toyota rep and find out how to buy one of these things, if you wanted to buy one, and what the delivery times are. There's a lot of questions that I just don't think are being asked.
No, there's a lot of speculation.
It's like, oh, we love it, we hate it, and it's like, it's too big, it's too small, it's whatever. We'll get into that briefly, but we're going to shoot this as like a 2-part video. So in the middle, it's just gonna break, and then we're gonna come back to this next week after we've seen the car.
The video or the Supra?
The video. Okay. Well, the Supra breaks in half. It's on its own. But so to start, I've owned Supras, Mark IVs, and Mark IIIs. I think we're getting into what we discussed in one of the earlier episodes, where it was you can't recreate the magic in an icon car.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like if an initial version has like a huge buzz.
The NSX is an icon. The GTR is an icon. The RX-7 is an icon car. God cars, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
The Supra, even though aesthetically I've never really cared for the way that jelly bean kind of body shape they had, but you can't knock the best powertrain. You agree or disagree? The best powertrain in the JDM business.
Yeah, and I think that part of the reason you can't recreate that magic, you can't count on doing it, is because a lot of the cars that you mentioned were groundbreaking or were original or did something different at the time they came out. And then when they make a version 2 of those cars, like the NSX or whatever, they're just trying to sort of ride the wave.
Right, like sequelizing a movie. It's like very rarely is the sequel.
Well, the sequels that are good are ones that have their own identity.
Not to be confused with like Empire Strikes Back or John Wick 2, but
but that's the point. They have their own identity.
Right,
they're related.
Right.
But
rarely is it as good as its.
No, usually not. Yeah,
the son of the hero, right?
Right.
But I think Toyota. This is just my opinion, but I think Toyota is making the same mistake with this car that they made with the FRS. They let somebody else build it. I like Subaru. Don't get me wrong, but it's a Subaru.
Right.
It's always been a Subaru. It is a Subaru. When you pop the hood and it says Fuji Heavy Industries, it's a Subaru.
The FRS.
Yeah. I don't care what you name it. It's not that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There's rumors that there's still rumors going around that Subaru is going to release a STI version that's turbo. I'll tell you what.
Oh, the FRS?
I'll tell you that right now. They build one, I'm buying one. Just so you know.
It's a 6-year-old rumor.
Yeah. But I can remember when they said the Corvette was going to be mid-engine. I was in high school.
It's a 20-year-old rumor.
Yeah,
30-year-old.
I was in high school, so 85.
Yeah.
But they're actually doing it.
Yeah, finally, yeah.
So getting back to the Supra,
Probably.
I think my biggest problem is it's not a Supra. It is a body-kitted BMW, and here's where he's not going to like me, bitch basket car.
But that's exactly why I like it.
It's, BMW made a Miata that was less reliable.
But
faster, but how many, Z3s are still around, driving around?
I mean, it's...
all the 2J powered ones, right? But
all the normally aspirated.
Oh, you're right. But I mean, a lot of those cars, they built a car copying a Japanese car manufacturer.
Sure.
And you can't not. I mean, you put a Miata next to a Z3. That's kind of what they went for, even though the Europeans did it first.
Yeah, I was going to say that the BMW's history with roadsters is old.
It was like based on the E-Type and the Triumph, right?
The BMW 507 was a roadster, and it's a really, really, really old car. They've done roadsters, pretty much the whole time, but they didn't have a roadster out when the Miata came out. And Miata,
those cars
Mazda really
built
hit
specifically to be a roadster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I don't know too much about
Mazda found a niche in the market.
Yeah,
that BMW didn't have.
Arguably the best Mazda ever built.
Maybe one of the best roadsters ever built.
Right. No, true.
And
I even like the new one. I would definitely own one if I were one of those people gifted with shorter height.
Yeah. And it's
4 inches
Oh
shorter.
yeah, no, I don't so much get in Miatas as put them on. Like they're really small.
But Getting back to the Supra, it's not really a Supra.
It's not really.
It's if you look at the inside with that SMG ugly shifter. If that's another thing, I think they could have saved a lot of their hate if they would have made it manual and offered it as manual right out of the box.
Yeah,
I know they're saying they might.
Yeah,
Z4, but I don't think the Supra should have an option because it's available on the Bimmer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, I was one of the few people who, when I heard that Toyota was partnering with BMW over the newest Supra, I got more interested. Because I always like
you're
Supras.
a Bimmer guy.
But yeah, I got more, and everyone's hating on their, it's going to break,
Well,
and blah,
because
blah, blah.
you're trying to merge two schools of thought. You know, if you think about Toyota or Lexus, you think customer service bar none. You think ultimate reliability.
Super reliable, yeah.
You know, 300, 400,000 miles. I mean, they're just indestructible. You think of BMW, you think about the plastic nipple that's going to break and cost you $1,000 to fix.
Interestingly, when they first announced the partnership with BMW for the engine, I thought that's all it was going to be. And I thought, okay, well, that's not,
I did too.
Yeah, the engine's not a bad
I held that
choice.
hope.
Yeah. And then
we talked about it. You said how reliable that engine was. It was a good
that
choice.
one engine, yeah, it's a very good engine. And then as time went by, there's more and more BMW DNA.
It is a BMW.
To the point where now it's like a rebodied Z4. And I'm like,
it's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's 6 inches longer than the AE86.
That's right.
The new FT86.
with a shorter wheelbase.
With a shorter wheelbase. Okay.
That's amazing.
So talk about putting a body over a car and just making it work. Because here's what I'm telling you. They said that we're going to build this car on a BMW platform. And they're like, we can't. The BMW platform is too small. And this FT1 that you released and showed everybody is a big-ass car, because I've sat in it. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, how much can we shorten it up? And that's what they did. They just took the car and they went quick, until it was big enough that it would work.
What I don't get about
Because it holds a lot of the styling cues.
What I don't get about Toyota's decision on this, as far as the final design went, is so if the GT86 cars, right? If the 86 cars are the spiritual successors to the 80s Corolla,
way more so than it is in this case.
And this is the successor to the Supra, and the Supras were always bigger than the Corollas. Why is the FRS and VRZ a longer wheelbase car than the new Supra? It doesn't make any sense.
You said in the past, cars are just getting bigger and heavier.
Yeah, okay, but if the newest version of the 86 is longer than the newest version of the Supra, Supra's never doesn't get smaller.
And this is, I'm definitely asking them when I go to Detroit. I think this is the case, and you can give me your 2 cents on this. I think it was a matter of Toyota is a smart car company.
Now.
Yeah. I mean, their laurels are build reliable. They care about the Camrys. Even though they cut some production in the Camry, but they're known for that. They're known for reliability. They build Tundras. They don't build a big truck because the Tundra is their market. But I think what it was is they did the same thing they did with this the BRZ and the FRS. We don't know if this is going to make us really good money or not. Is this going to be a hit or not? We don't know. So let's let another company do all the heavy lifting. We're not going to retool our factory to build Supras and spend $20-30 million in retooling to make Supras. Let's let BMW build it, because their production numbers are down. They can build it and then send it to us, and we'll drop a body on it. And if it works down the road, we're just going to kick BMW to the curb and build a Toyota one,
like a Generation 6 or like a Mark 6 Supra.
But because they saw what happened, then the FRS didn't sell to where they wanted it to sell.
Yeah,
it still confuses me, because I really do love those cars.
Yeah, well, I think the sad thing about the FRS is it kind of it shed light on something that neither one of us want to admit, but we both know is true, is that the car enthusiast market is getting smaller with each generation of driver.
Oh my God, SUVs. Everything's an SUV.
Smaller and smaller.
If you came out with an FRS SUV, you'd sell like crazy.
Yeah, like some kind of a crossover.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
but the enthusiasts, I guess my
people
point are,
throw the crap in the back of their car.
The enthusiasts are dying.
Yeah. I mean, manuals are showing that.
And I think the FRS kind of proves that, because it should have been, the FRS should have been as good for its market as the almost maybe as the Miata was for its market, but it wasn't.
And the garbage truck comes.
It just didn't. It did not hit a home run.
What else bugs me too is I'm waiting for us to all turn into that generation that floats around in hover chairs with like in Wall-E with a shake in her hand, you know. But I just think the car is going to be a huge disappointment. Unfortunately, when you draw such a big target on something, the new Supra, then you're going to unfortunately have a problem, because now if it isn't the new Supra, every time they think it's a flat tire, they're going to say, "Oh, look at that! It got a flat." You know, it's going to be beat up. This car is just going to be massacred in the media.
The funny thing,
and it happened to the NSX. It happened to the new NSX. The NSX is not horrible, but it was supposed to be the next NSX, and it's not. It's an RSX or whatever you want to call it.
It's definitely in the shadow of the previous NSX.
Yeah, and I mean, now you look at, I think they built, I'm probably going to be wrong, I think they built 150 of them last year.
Oh, there's that few.
Yeah,
wow.
Like a pitiful amount of them got built. Because no one wants them. The guys that want them are the guys that just want to have something, or they're NSX guys that just have to have it, and I'm like, and then I love meeting them at car meets, because you roll up in an old one.
Yeah.
And they pull up to you in the new one, and they try to talk you out of how bad their car is.
Yeah, they kind of try to convince you that it's not awful.
And then they go home and go,
Yeah.
you know, I should have spent the money on this car that was going to appreciate, not depreciate.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Supra, so I like the look. I don't mind the look, because it does look enough like the like the FT1.
Yeah.
And then they released the underhood pictures and the interior pictures.
Yeah.
And it's a bimmer.
Yeah.
It's just not even tried hard. It's a bimmer.
Yes.
I said to you earlier, I said, I can't wait to see the pictures of the car with his bimmer badges on it.
Yeah. Well, I told you somebody made a meme that took a photo of the inside of a Z4 and just put a Toyota emblem on the steering wheel.
Do you remember that car? I can't remember what it was exactly. It was that car that BMW made with the skin that flexed body.
Oh, sort of
It had
vaguely.
those really weird headlights.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
It was like a concept.
You push the button and this thing just opened to the engine bay with
this weird,
like a polymer skin.
Amorphous, thing.
Yeah, I forget what it was called, but it was really cool. I mean, it was the doors like bend up and open.
Yeah.
But
it had like a fabric.
If you look at that car, it looks a little bit like this new Supra.
It's the same design language.
Yeah, it's like that squinty headlights.
I think a lot of the hate for the Supra is coming from the fact that I think a lot of people feel like they got kind of the bait and switch. Like they saw the FT1 and they're like, man, if it's anything like this, it's going to be amazing. And then this
JDM people and Toyota people, and at the worst, I'm sure of the thing is the Supra people are mad at Toyota for doing this to them.
Yeah.
They're mad at Toyota for doing this to them.
Well, it's a strange thing to do, isn't it? To say,
it's
we
really
know
a
you
weird
love
thing to
this
do.
car.
Unless you think like,
so we're going to make it worse and give you a new one. Like,
we're not even going to give you that car. We're just going to call it that.
Yeah, it's a very strange.
It would be like saying we're going to build the new Mustang GT, and then it's Corvette.
Yeah, and it only comes in a V6 with a turbo.
Right.
That's it.
Yes. It comes with a North Star engine. But it's. Yeah, BMW. It's just, but it's like, we had a conversation a while back about reliability and like JD Power and stuff. I know Donut just did a thing about JD Power, which I found incredible.
I'm surprised I had enough content to do a video about what JD Power is.
Yeah, but JD Power has like 3,000 awards, and you got to pay them to use the fact that you won, which is hilarious.
So which
is why General Motors is the only company.
They make awards. For you to say that you have a JD Power. Yeah.
You won the best doorknob award.
I wonder how much it costs for you to get a JD Power and Associates Best John Stegner an initial quality award.
Initially, I think my quality was pretty high.
Initial quality.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love when you see these car companies that, and they even said it in Donut. They were like, but when you look at quality 90 days or quality, 3-year quality, it's Lexus, Toyota.
No, it's true.
And Chevy is like, Of course, your car's initial quality. Do you pick the car up at the dealership and go, "What a hunk of shit"?
Well, that's the thing. Saying your car has the best initial quality just means it's not broken when you first get it.
Yeah, it's like you don't
Doesn't
even know your
Who
car.
wants an award?
You don't even know your new car till you put the first scratch on it. Really?
How's there an award for that?
But so I'm trying to keep. I know that Black Widow Supra is going to meet us out there in Cali, and a few other people, and we're going to talk. And I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation about the Supra, especially since Kyle is such a Supra guy. But I'm reserving my final judgment until I see the car. But the more I see about the car now that it's actually been released to the public, the more I already hate it.
So
Won't be buying one.
Yeah, well, so here's what I think. And
Lexus RCF track, I'm not so sure. But yeah.
Well, you said you have a friend who works for Toyota.
Yeah.
Here in the state, and there's already how many orders for the Supra?
So we called around just
As of like today.
So in Florida alone, one of the largest dealers in Florida already has 20 orders.
Already has 20 orders.
Pre-orders. So,
Pre-orders.
Because we don't even know how much they're going to screw people.
Oh, for the like final.
You know what?
stick price.
I don't want to say it like that because Toyota has a history of not going crazy bonkers and marking up the prices.
But it's a BMW.
Yeah, but it's still being sold by a Toyota dealer. They have a certain level of ethics.
Well, they got bills to pay though.
Sure, but like long time ago, me and one of my friends had for content use, we were going to buy one of the GTRs when they first came out.
Oh yeah.
And we were on the list, and the car was prepaid
07
for.
or whatever.
Well, yeah, the car was. We had a loan secured for the car. Everything was ready to go. Put a substantial amount of money down on the car, and they screwed around for months. Couldn't take delivery because delivery was late. And then we actually, through our resources, found out that 20 cars were sitting in a storage lot in Jacksonville, just sitting there. And then when we questioned that, we drove there and asked the people at Jacksonville why the cars were sitting there. They were like, "Oh, we can't deliver them to the dealers until the dealers have a certified mechanic to do the PDI inspection." And our dealer, big Nissan dealer here in Orlando, let's just say, universally a big dealer in Orlando, boned us.
No idea who that is.
Boned us and told us, bullshitted us, and said the car wasn't here. And I'm like, "There's the car." And they were like, made motorboat sounds. And then we talked to Nissan corporate, and then we talked to Nissan of Florida, and they're like, "Yeah, they don't have they haven't sent a technician to be trained, so we can't deliver the car to them." So then all of a sudden they scrambled and got a technician trained to get the car, and when the car arrived, they tried to mark us up $10,000 because
So they made you wait.
the price point for the desirability of the car was so high at that point between the time we had ordered it, because we ordered it like the Supra was. They announced it. We're like, we want one. We want a black edition, or I forget what it was. It was I forget what the early ones were. There was a special edition you can get.
Okay.
White one. We had plans for this whole car. We had bought parts for this car.
Before, yeah.
And
I'm guilty of that too.
yeah, and then they try to screw us around, and we were like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, if you really want the car, you got to pay this markup." And we're like, "No, our contract says this."
Right.
And they literally told us, "Well, you can litigate it." And we're like, "We want our deposits back right now." Now, bear in mind when this happened, which I don't remember when the GTRs first came out. If I would be where I am now with social media, there would have been quite the video of this experience.
Oh yeah.
And they would have
Dealers can't get away with that.
and they would have given us the car for like $5,000 under sticker.
Yeah.
By the time we were done.
That's what I was going to say. So they lied to you about the car.
You can't get away with anything at this point, but I mean, at this point, sometimes that's a good thing.
They lied to you about the car.
They lied to us about the car. They lied
Like
to
whether
us-
or not it was in the state.
They lied to us when we were going to get it. They lied to
They
us
made
where
you
the car
wait.
was.
Yeah.
When we found out where the car was, because it turns out we weren't the only Nissan GTR people looking for their cars.
Yeah, wondering what the car
'Cause
was.
Now, I can't speak for other people and what their dealership experience was, but they were looking for their cars as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a phone call from, let's put it this way. The process took so long from the time we put our deposit down and ordered the car to the time when the car was actually going to get delivered that the salesman who was selling us the car didn't work for the dealer anymore.
Jesus.
So we
And then they wanted to charge you more.
yeah, and then so apparently, yeah. So
It's amazing.
and it was a large dollar value. We're not talking, if the new I don't condone markups
Yeah.
on a production vehicle, but if Toyota sells these for $5,000 over sticker, I don't think that's horrible if you can't wait.
Yeah.
You're paying for getting it 10 weeks or you're getting it first.
Yeah.
You're paying for that price, and that's fine. But we waited how many years for the Supra since '98?
I had 97 or 98.
So I mean, it's a long time, 20 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So a couple of months isn't a big deal.
No.
I mean, for people on social media that are going to obviously use this car, there's a few people that I've talked to that are saying they're buying the car. They want to use it for content.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a situation where they've got to have it, and they'll pay up for it, or they'll get a deal because they're going to use it for
And
content.
it happens a lot. It happens. You see it in the Porsche world all the time.
But
like if you buy a special Porsche, there's exclusivity agreements, and you can't resell the car after a while, and they mark it up.
Yeah. I mean,
and you just know you're along for that ride.
Like Jared, who's a friend of ours.
There's a precedent for
a friend of ours who's an editor for Car Buzz. Was there for the press release, and he says, yeah, it's bolt-on wheels, and I was like, oh, it's a Bimmer. I mean, I think that's the final stepping point when the wheels bolt on. It's a German car.
But the lug studs.
That's a stud.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's just I'm not mad. I'm not going to buy the car either way. But it's like I think it's just disappointing.
It's disappointing,
and I want to go see it. And I want to be like, wow, it is kind of nice. But now I see these pictures with fake gills and fake all these aero parts that are fake, and they're not even like. That was my biggest turnoff, and it's why I didn't buy the Civic Type R. All these grills that aren't grills, they're just stamped pieces of plastic.
I couldn't agree more. And
it was just like, man, AutoZone. They built this thing at AutoZone.
Yeah. They just beat everything.
Where are the little Buick portholes in the fender? That's all I was expecting. But I think
when the Civic Type R came out, because of its looks, with all the like fake grills and fake air and everything, I said it looked like if a fifth generation SCI, that SCI hatch, and a transformer had like a drunken love child, it would be a Honda Civic Type R.
Yeah.
But the thing is, where I was going to go with the Supra is that, so your friend's dealership has all these pre-orders for the car. Mm-hmm. And everyone's hating on the car because we thought we were going to get this and we're getting that. But people are still putting money down. They're still buying it. So you know what that makes...
But here's my point. 20 people doesn't make a production.
No, it doesn't, no.
And let's say there's 20 people at every dealer in the United States. That's horrible numbers.
Yeah.
That's 1 year's production of a car.
I think...
Or less.
Well, I think what's going to end up happening with that car... I mean, because that's just now. Once they start hitting dealerships, once they're like fully in production and moving, who knows what's going to happen. But I think that what's going to happen with this car, and I said this to you earlier before we started filming, is that I think that car is going to end up being accidentally pretty good. And people are going to be like, all right.
It's never going to be that. I mean, you're talking some perfect storm shit.
Well, I'm not setting the bar very high either. I said pretty good. I'm not,
I mean, but I think it's going to... I think two things, mark my words on two things right now. If you can go and buy a Mark IV Supra, buy one right now. Buy one right now and get a good one with decent mileage and lock it the F up.
Yeah.
Because it's going to do exactly what the NSX did. It's going to bring attention to the old car. And the old car, which some of these cars have already sold for $50,000, $60,000, are going to go. They're back where they were when they were new, which is what the NSX did.
Right.
So they're going to go ballistic.
Yep.
I know guys that are getting Supras from Japan that are literally not even saying they have them yet, and they have them because they know the market's going to spike.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime you call attention to something, it spikes. The other thing is, the minute I saw the first Supra and it says GR on the back, that little badge they have, GR, the first thing that came to my mind was German rebody. German platform rebody.
If I
ready for the shitstorm.
If I find myself in the position to buy one before like too long, I probably will. Just to
you could build an MK4. There's a couple of things I think are hilarious. I think someone's gonna buy one of these, and I'm curious to see how long it's gonna take for somebody to buy one of these things and put a 2J in it.
Well, I mean, I think there's probably people who are already planning on it, just right out of the gate.
My suggestion was, I wonder if Toyota would sell us one of the FT1 prototype bodies. Because that car was gorgeous. And when I sat in it at SEMA a few years ago, it was all there.
Yeah.
It didn't look BMW inside.
Yeah.
It was all there. There was an interior. There were stickers on the doors. I think it was crash tested. I'm just saying. At one point, they hadn't gone down this road.
They hadn't let the accountants take over.
And I know I know in Philadelphia when they unveiled the car, it didn't have a motor in it because Toyota, the reps told me it didn't have an engine. It was a big block of wood under the hood. I know they took the gray one around. Now I've heard stories it's the same car repainted, but I know they took the gray one around. It was always rolled off a truck. It never drove it. So I'm thinking there's no motor in this thing. So, which is common in a concept car.
Yeah.
So just let's buy one and 2J6 speed it and end it. And just end all the hate. But
So talk to your buddy.
yeah, we'll talk when we get back from Detroit. The memes are flowing hardcore.
They have been.
Yeah,
It's bad, dude.
I know on my Instagram I get people, you're hating on the car too much. Please stop. I'm like, you obviously don't know who I am.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
All I do is hate.
Probably. You know, I like to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And I really wanted this car to be good. I really
Nobody would be upset if everybody was
me,
wrong.
man. I'm one of the biggest Honda Toyota guys there are.
No.
I really wanted this to be, and I'm really and I think I'm getting the same feeling a lot of people. I feel disappointed. I'm disappointed in Toyota's choice here.
I'm not a big JDM guy, and I am a BMW guy, and I'm somewhat disappointed, but mostly about the looks.
The other thing is the
And the
Z4
dimensions.
has never been a good seller for BMW. BMW sales are all 3 and 5.
Z4s are weird. The M's sell really well.
But what's really
and
well?
the non-M's, well,
not the
in
Toyota
terms of
scale of
production,
performance.
so sales of units.
I'll go out.
The percentage of units sold.
If I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to admit it. But I'm going to guarantee you that the Z4s didn't sell as much as FRSs did.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't say. But here's the other thing, though, too. Even though I like the Supra, the new Supra, if I had to choose between a new Supra and a Z4M, I'd have a Z4M.
Well, we'll see what happens when we get back from Detroit. So I'm going to try to have the video complete and posted up next week when we get back. So we'll talk to you guys then and you get the full story. Hey everybody, welcome back to the part 2 of the Toyota Supra Tuner Talk episode. So we flew up to Detroit over the weekend, and I realized why I live in Florida. Because first of all, the rental cars were pretty much frozen. At one point it was 5 degrees.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's a great time for an auto show.
Yeah.
Great time. Really makes you feel good about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they do it at the worst time of year possible for Detroit.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But anyway, so we go out to the auto show. We kind of do a beeline. We were out there with a couple of our friends, and Toyota Supra was out there, and a bunch of us, we kind of beelined it. We got there real early and ran over basically to see the Supra.
Hey guys, today we're here at the Detroit Auto Show checking out the new Mark V Supra.
I'm so pleased to introduce all of you to the 2020 Toyota Supra. That's right, it is back and it's now in its 5th generation. I know.
And here's the story. Let me start by, I've kind of been hating on it a lot, but I really wanted to be proven wrong. It was one of those situations where I'm a big Toyota fan, Lexus fan, and I really wanted to be wrong, and I'm really not wrong.
No.
It's a tragedy.
Well, what's disappointed me the most is how much the car has changed from when they announced it. Where, like, when they announced it...
Yeah, I've sat in the FT1.
Well,
Yeah.
design aside, but, like, when they announced the FT1, well, even before they released it, when they announced the Supra, they said it was going to be BMW powered. And I was like, well, that's okay. That's all right.
I think that's what made it palatable for a lot of Toyota people.
And then as it went on, it just got more and more Z4 to the point where now it's literally just a Z4
So
with a new body.
So here's what we learned from Toyota, and my heart goes out to the people that are promoting this car for Toyota because they're getting beat up. I mean, they're taking customer comments, right, and they're writing these down. And we talked to one of the reps out there, and she told us that 94% of everything was negative.
The comments and
the comments and inputs.
Yeah.
And I'll get to the funniest one later on, but it happened actually while we were there, which was pretty funny. But the looks are the best thing I can say about the car. And a lot of people are hating on the looks. It if you look at it, it's not a bad looking car. If you can look at it as a car that is nameless,
like if it wasn't the Supra.
if you look at it neutral, it's
Yeah.
a damn good looking car.
Well, I think the only reason people are hating on the looks is because of how handsome the FT1 concept was,
Right.
versus what it ended up being. Like if the concept looked like the car looked like now, it wouldn't be that.
Yeah, it's wrong on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
It's disproportionate to the FT1 or the Mark IV Supra.
Yeah.
Black Widow Supra was commenting on how it's similar, and it does. It's very curvaceous, but in a BMW curvaceous way, not in that rounded Supra kind of way.
Yeah.
And I granted, I brought up that Mark III was not a very popular Supra. It's
Initially, no.
no,
Yeah.
and the motor was its biggest problem.
Yeah.
But at least Toyota built it.
Right.
Toyota fixed it, put the 1J in Japan, and if you plop a 1J in that car, it's pretty painless, and it's an amazing swap. But the new car, it's so tragic. There's all these vents on the car that do absolutely nothing. There's a vent on the hood, which is the hood. They went with this Viper type hood, where the hood is like the top of the fenders.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Clamshell thing.
Yeah.
And there's a vent
funny.
that comes down the hood that's not only a fake vent, but the guys from Toyota were telling us if you remove the vent, it's metal under it. So it was never meant to be in any way functional.
Do you know what other car in recent history has that sort of hood over fender? The Z3.
Well, the Z4 has it as well because, I mean, that's what it is. This car is it's a BMW with a body kit. Guys were joking that the GR stands for German rebody.
Yeah, I can see that.
And you open it and there's not. I mean, the only thing that's Toyota on this car are the badges.
Right.
It's a bolt-on wheel assembly. We found out, so it's just like the BMW. The bolt pattern is a German bolt pattern.
Yeah.
It is in every way, shape, or form a Z4.
It's so much Z4. I don't know if you picked up this technical data, but it's so much. I did, yeah. It's so much a Z4. It's built in the same factory as the Z4, alongside of it.
Now, a lot of people over at the show told us that BMW was looking for funding to fund the new Z4, and Toyota essentially the story we got was they're the bank.
Interesting.
So Toyota said, look, we're building this FT1. We don't want to redo a whole factory. We're building, in my opinion, the real sports cars over at the F building where Lexus is. We don't have a place to build this car. We'll fund your project. And by the way, can you bang out 1,500 of these things that say Supra?
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
It's really strange.
I'm amazed Toyota did it.
Well, none of it makes any sense. None of this whole project, this whole experiment makes any sense.
Makes sense to somebody.
Well, but here's the thing, right? So the Supra, it was always, even way back in the Celica Supra days, it was always, a sports coupe, we'll call it. It was always supposed to be a fun car, right?
And it was always, in the Mark IV case, it was always more of a touring car.
And they were going in that direction for sure, yeah, but now not so much. But the irony to this whole situation is while I was researching the actual technical specs of the car and what makes it different from the Z4 is objectively a better sports car. It's faster to 60. It makes more torque as well, horsepower and torque. It's shorter front to rear, it's wider, and it's cheaper.
Well, it sounds like BMW's getting the better deal.
Absolutely. And BMW buyers.
So, I mean, looking at the car, other than it's falling into the Honda Civic Type R, let's put a lot of fake vents on the car that do have absolutely no purpose whatsoever. I'm sure you could take them off and drill them out, and they wouldn't do absolutely nothing, but whatever. Grills and stuff have become aesthetic.
Yeah.
To make a car look meaner than it is. But it's not a bad-looking car. I mean, it's not. I don't dislike it. I think it's more of a FRS replacement kind of thing, because it does have this exact same wheelbase.
It does, yeah.
As the FRS, and it's 6 inches longer.
Yeah.
The talk is that the cars are going to come in about in the 60s for the turbos.
It's amazing.
And that they're going to basically get murdered if you live in California, because they're talking about $30,000 markups. I think Toyota will jump all over it. They've done it in the past. They've jumped all over the LFA. They wouldn't let people mark these things up into the stratosphere. And they got sold pretty much for what they were stickered at. I think Toyota will jump on that. So I watched Super Speeders. Rob did a review on it, and I found it really interesting because he said They've leaked all this stuff. They've leaked all these pictures. They've done all this stuff because they want all the YouTubers and all the guys to shoot their wad now.
Yeah.
They want them to shoot their wad now and be like, we hate it, we hate it, we hate it, we hate it. So by the time this thing comes out in 6 months, when this car's actually hitting driveways, everybody's like, yeah, we've heard it all. We don't want to listen to you guys rant about how bad this car is anymore.
But it's such weird. The whole technique is weird. Everything about this car is weird.
Here's
everything.
But here's the only thing I can think
the way
of.
it's being marketed, like everything that you just said, everything about it technically.
Well,
here's
the thing. And this is the only thing that I can really say makes any logical sense. Toyota doesn't care about sports cars.
Then why build it at all?
Because people say they want a Supra. This thing should have been revolutionary, not the next step in the BMW product line. And it would have sold for $85,000, $90,000, just like a GTR does. I remember talking to the Toyota reps years ago when the FT1 came out in Detroit. This is a couple years ago. And they were asking us all these questions, and I said, don't build it. Unless this car comes out and obliterates the GTR, don't build it. Because you need to one-up the competition. And the GTR is a car that a lot of Skyline people hated. But in the defense of Skylines, most people that hated on the GTR have never driven the realest GTRs.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're coming out now. They're pretty common now.
But only because they can. Yeah.
No one had driven an R34 to complain about it.
Yeah.
Okay? The GTR is pretty much the first idiot supercar. You can put anyone in it and they can go fast. It's very low skill to drive that car fast. This is a normal car. And I think what's happened is if you look at where the money is going these days in Toyota's bloodstream, it's going to Lexus. You walk away from the Toyota Supra booth.
Certainly the performance money.
You walk away from the Toyota Supra booth, which I did as fast as I possibly could after I talked to a few people. I ran over to Lexus.
Right.
And they just unveiled the LC convertible, the Roadster.
Concept. Yeah.
Blow you away, gorgeous car.
Yeah, it's actually a good
you could tell the car was designed to be either a hardtop or convertible because the convertible stuff is so seamless it doesn't even imagine. And that car is crazy. And then you walk 10 feet away and you see the RCF track, which they're only building a small number. That thing's crazy.
But see, okay, this gets to a point that I was having a conversation I was having in between the first episode and this one is Toyota already makes the RC platform in the Lexus, right?
Right.
So they already have a car that, at least on the underpinning,
it's way more Supra than the Supra.
Well, it lends itself way more to being a Supra than a Supra. How could it possibly have been cheaper for them to outsource as much of the cars they did to BMW and just rebody it than it is to use a platform you already have and rebody that?
I don't know.
How is that less expensive?
It's probably the answer is what happens with the automotive industry in general. It's all about bean counting. Somebody somewhere thought this was financially a good idea.
It's just amazing.
And I've talked to dealers and they've got 20 deposits on this car. We're only getting $1,500 in the launch to the United States. I'm going crazy trying to talk Kyle out of buying one. He wants to get one, and he's a super guy, so for his channel maybe. But so. Here's the other thing. I own an RCF. I own a 2015.
Yeah.
It's fast as fast 0 to 60 as a Supra.
The new Supra.
As the new Supra, bone stock. It's not speed limited to 155 miles an hour. It goes 176 miles an hour. It has a normally aspirated V8. It is big, heavy, and yet fun to drive, like the Mark IV was.
Right.
It is more Supra
than the current Supra.
And it's like I made a meme up for my Instagram that says, the car cam Instagram is big thing is not my Supra.
Yeah.
It's not a Supra. It's a BMW, and we've talked about car companies that have worked with other car companies to build cars. I mean, it's been Toyota did the Geos back in the day, and the Corolla is this,
the Corolla and the Nova.
But you know what's funny, and it's so sad to say. So we deal with Hertz rental almost every time we fly, and Hertz gave us a brand new. It had 400 miles on it. Camry SE. I like the Camry SE styling.
Yeah.
more than I like the Supra.
It's the whole thing
That's
is
a
just
cool car for a four-door sedan, you know?
well, just to stay on the whole collaboration thing. Let's say that Toyota stuck with their original statement and they said, we want to build a new Supra, but it's going to be BMW powered because we're not doing straight sixes and they do, and it's just cheaper.
And there's no way they didn't know this car was going to be this the whole time. So this was not like we just decided to.
Right.
It takes too long to develop a car.
Right. So let's say they did that. Financially, it seems to me that it would make way more sense to put that FT1 body on an RC like platform. Essentially, you're already making the car, so there's zero R&D costs for the chassis.
Or better yet,
And
you've
then-
already built this prototype FT1. Put that body on it.
Well, yeah, and then
You're gonna rebody.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, put the FT1. Yeah, exactly. Body on that chassis, and just if you have to use a BMW engine, fine. Why the transmission? Like, you know what I mean? Toyota's already using ICE and 8 speeds. It's an 8-speed transmission.
You already got the car and it works.
If it's just about the engine, just okay. Just get the engine.
And the rebuttal is, oh, but the RCF costs more. Like $5,000 more.
But you don't have to option it. It doesn't have to have
No.
leather, everything, and power, everything,
I
and
mean,
so on.
so the new RCF track they've lost a lot of weight on the car, gained a few ponies, not many, but a few ponies.
Yeah.
You've got carbon ceramic brakes. You've got a launch control, which the Supra doesn't have. You've got all this stuff, and arguably one of the coolest interiors in a sports car these days. I mean, just those red seat. You know, I mean, you go crazy, and you know, and I've had the car for a while. It's a great car.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make more horsepower, just rip the exhaust system off it. It's fine.
So is this what the goal was for Toyota then? To make potential Supra buyers so angry that they just buy an RC instead?
Yeah, or an LC.
Or an LC?
Now there's some spy footage out right now of an LCF
Ooh.
being road tested in Germany. Go figure.
They're hands-on cars, LCs.
Go figure.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
Well, Toyota already has.
Right, it's going to be a beast
partnership
of the
there,
car.
so.
There's rumors all over the map where the car is going to have 600 plus horsepower. There's two engines they've been talking about, which is basically a version of the RCF motor enhanced in two versions. The one was making like 500 some horsepower, and the other one was making 600 some horsepower by twin turboing it.
A twin turbo V8. Wow.
Yeah, which would be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe it. I'll believe when I see it. But
It's been done.
The LC is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's more in the vein of the Mark IV Supra.
Oh, for sure.
And you're talking about a car that's going to... The LC's hit about $100,000, like the current ones.
Yeah.
An LCF, I would imagine, is going to be 20, 30 grand more than that.
Yeah.
But people spend $130,000 to have a crazy luxury touring car.
Oh,
that's
for
going to, blow away BMW and Mercedes.
No, for sure.
And the other thing about
I
it
don't know
is
about blow away, but yeah.
the biggest thing, and one of the biggest complaints we heard from a lot of Toyota people that we talked to at the show, just fanboys. Detroit is a bad place to go to talk about imports. It's a very domestic heavy
always been
town.
that way. Yeah.
It's Motor City. We get it. No, not hating on the domestics, but it's the bad market.
Yeah.
To ask people. But to a few Toyota fans we talked to, all had within their complaints, all had one complaint, and it was like, why I buy a Toyota for its low maintenance costs and its reliability, and that's why a Supra is so cool. 2Js don't break. You can do 600-700 horsepower in a 2J, with BPUs, basic power upgrades, and you're good. Mm-hmm. Now you're building a car that your left lug nut sensor is going to have a light on the dash. Previous Z4s, correct me if I'm wrong because you're the guy for the BMWs, but previous Z4 motors, or the motor that's the previous generation of this,
The N55.
have had Vanos problems.
Yeah.
Have had turbocharger failures by 60,000 miles.
Yeah, they've had
water pump.
Yeah.
You Google Z4 and issues and you get water pump.
That's true. It's true.
Oil leaks.
Yeah. Well, and also they, until more recently, didn't lend themselves that well to performance upgrades because they're direct injected engines, and they had some proprietary issues.
I mean, so does the Lexus. So does the Lexus.
Well, and there were some proprietary things that were getting in the way of aftermarket tuning and so on.
But
So
the Germans here's the car. This is the way it is. Too
well,
bad.
I just mean in contrast to previous BMWs that lent themselves to
Yeah.
aftermarket. That particular the N55 you're talking about was not.
Yeah, but so I think what's going to happen with this car is even a worse situation than what happened with the NSX. The NSX came out. It took too long to come out. It came out. It wasn't what everybody wanted.
Right.
Because, and I'm
you're an NSX guy.
But you can't recreate the magic. You know, it's hard to sequel. Sequels are hard. Okay, when you have a car that's as universally loved and as universally respected in the Japanese car world as an NSX, to come out and build a car that doesn't handle as well,
right,
is basically a hybrid.
Yeah,
and I think its biggest failing is its looks.
Well, okay, I'm gonna add to that statement. You can recreate the magic, but in order to do it, you have to do everything that car did right and find ways to make it better, objectively better.
And there's a lot of ways to do that with modern tech.
That's where I'm going.
Not even opposed to the car being a hybrid, but if you drive the new NSX, you will find that it is lackluster. I mean, it's fast. It's fast. But fast doesn't make it an NSX.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of fast cars out there. Hellcats and Demons are fast.
Yeah.
But they break.
Yep.
And
their interiors are awful.
And you know, I was watching something recently where Gas Monkey Garage, one of the guys like destroyed a Hellcat trying to keep up with Camaros and Corvettes on a corner.
Yeah.
Okay, so not the car. When the road turns, you go straight. Kind of thing.
It's very much old school muscle in that way.
And it's fine. It's got its niche.
Yeah.
But you know, when you made the Challenger, it's kind of a modern Challenger. Mm-hmm. The Mustang is the modern. The Mustang's been around. It hasn't had that huge 20-year gap.
Right.
Of we didn't build one.
Yeah. You know? I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
And I hate to say this, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but I'm kind of digging the new Vet. I'm kind of digging this mid-engine car.
Oh, the concept.
If it looks like they say it's going to look like, which I've seen some of the more recent stuff.
Yeah.
It's a nice car. It's an impressive car. And leave it to the domestic car market to wait 1,000 years to find out mid-engines are good. But
I think they always knew they were good.
They just couldn't build them.
They just couldn't convince enough people to build. Yeah.
But the Corvette, you know, in its own defense, has gotten better. Like the C7's way better.
Oh, absolutely. I would say 6, 7.
It started in the C5. It started to get better, and then it just progressively got better.
I completely agree.
And it is a formidable car now. A sports car, not just a high horsepower car. But you look at the NSX and the Supra.
Yeah.
So what happened? The NSX came out, took forever. A lot of people didn't like the looks. A lot of people didn't like the performance.
When it came out, it was built on old tech. At that
Motor
point.
Trend call it like one of the most boring supercars they've ever tested.
Yeah.
If that isn't a body blow, what is? So, but what happened? Vintage NSX prices. My car is worth 3 times what it was worth.
Oh yeah.
Before that car came out.
Oh yeah. And probably the same thing is going to happen with Mark IV.
Go buy a Mark IV right now. I'm telling you, go buy a Mark IV right now because all these people are going to go.
Well, the thing is Mark IVs they haven't been cheap in a long time anyway.
No, now they've always been. Well, Fast and Furious made that car.
Fast and Furious made them very exactly. Exactly.
You know, and NSXs are kind of an elitist Japanese car.
They are.
I get it. Yeah, and I can see why. And I mean, I'm an elitist prick when it comes to cars, so I get it. But you want the car that people get. I'm still amazed by how many people walk up to me and go, "What is that?"
Well, the car ages well.
It does. Oh, you changed the wheels. The thing looks brand new.
It ages very well.
The Supra
it was never all that common.
Is very 90s looking.
It is.
It's curvy, and I always say the Supra's voluptuous. It's very curvy.
The Supra design language is definitely more of a reflection of the time it was created, and the NSX was pushing.
It's like an automotive equivalent of a beautiful Latina woman. It's very curvy.
Oh yeah.
It's got that.
But doesn't age well. You're completely completely right.
But I mean, it's curvy.
As a Cuban, I can tell you that's true.
It's curvy and just beautiful in a different way. NSXs are Ferrari angular from that era. They look like a Ferrari because that's who designed it.
And the Ferraris age well from that time period. Yeah.
But you look at cars like the RX-7 is a beautiful car. The RX-8 is a tragedy.
The RX-8 is an abortion. It's terrible.
It's just a bad car in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
But the God cars, the shame is, you know, this generation, these cars are going up so dramatically in price
Yeah.
And they're getting so rare because there's only about 5,000 and change NSXs left total.
Is it that?
8,777 cars built for the U.S. market. According to NSX Prime, there's literally about 55 to 50. I'm going to be close on this, not perfect, but 55 to 5,800 cars that are still registered for road use. But here's the thing.
So 3 grand haven't been wrecked.
Well, here's the
necessarily.
thing. The cars that they're still listing on the road.
Yeah.
That doesn't remove automatics, which no one wants.
No.
And it doesn't, which is a small percentage, but enough. And then it doesn't remove cars that have been in accidents and repaired, which basically eliminates the value of an NSX because of its aluminum design. So I'm going to say there's probably about 3,000 to 4,000 nice cars out there.
Manual,
Guy
on-wrecked.
probably had 7,000 miles. Guys hasn't driven 20 years. That kind of stuff. That happens a lot.
I don't have a concept of that because, as you know,
I put so many miles on mine.
Well, as you know, here in
hideous.
Orlando, there are many.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
Yeah.
there are a lot. So you don't
There's
get a sense of that.
There's a lot in California. When I was in LA,
California's a big state. Orlando's a city.
I went. Usually, my NSX is like 1 or 2 of the NSXs that are at a car show. When I went to LA, there was like 7 of them there, and two of them were really nice, and the rest of them were like on air, and they just destroyed the idea. It's your car, do what you want with it. But I'm saying, I would buy a wrecked one if I was going to drop it. Because you're never going to really push that car.
I never get what people do airbags on performance cars anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, but I think
generally,
what the point is that the old Supras are going to benefit from this tragedy that's Toyota's throwing at us now.
Yeah.
And if you own one, sit on it for 6-8 months because you're about to see the bump.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, as soon as these cars aren't going to come out for another 6 months, you're going to have guys, rambling on about these cars for the next 6 months till they start hitting the driveway. It'll peak again, and people will be like, "Oh, it's not that bad of a car," or "It's this car broke on me the first week I had it." The thing is, I told the one of the reps at Toyota this, and you could tell she hadn't thought about it because she was like, "Oh shit." I said, "These cars are going to be under the magnifying glass. So when these come out, the first guy who has a flat, there's going to be a 4-page post about how the tires aren't good on this car.
Yeah,
and they're Michelin violent.
Yeah.
But it's like everything this car does is going to be scrutinized.
Absolutely.
And just like the NSX was.
They did it to themselves.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to bring back a nameplate that has such a heritage and such a following,
it's iconic.
You have to do it right, or you open yourself up to exactly this.
And you know what's funny? I think,
and really, you open yourself up to it anyway. But
I feel Toyota did a better job with the FRS and the F8. What is it? F86 or whatever it is now. They changed the name on it, but it's like the BRZ.
The GT86.
The GT86, yeah, which is what it was originally called in Europe, right? Mm-hmm. So they did a better job with that because that car is a lot closer to the original 8.
Absolutely.
Because the original 8, that's another thing. Most people haven't driven one. They're pigs.
Yeah.
They're slow cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them initially doing all this other stuff. They're not that fast.
No, you're right.
They're a little 4-cylinder engine. They're great. The balance is wonderful. And but now the 50-50 weight balance. 50-50. They must have said that 100 times.
Well, it's a BMW thing.
On the new Supra.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, who are you adding?
Yeah.
There was one girl that we were talking to, and after we spoke to her, she says, normally I'm the point person for the new Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel vehicle.
Oh.
And I just instantly stopped and I said, "Do you think they got you repping this car because it's another Toyota no one wants?" And she's like, honestly, maybe.
Oh my God.
Because
don't name her. We don't want to put her out
she's
there.
really nice and she's really smart too. She's a total car chick. But the Mirai, she has a Prius, total car chick.
Blech.
She lives in Cali.
Well, I meant the Mirai.
I get you. But the Mirai, it's such a weird fuel vehicle, and it's in certain countries it's good, and I get why people do it. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand it. But I kind of dig the way it looks. It's weird, but it's cool in a weird way.
Yeah,
but
guess.
I'd never own one anyway.
No, yeah.
But it's like, I went to look at the Supra, and I wasn't going to buy one. There's no way.
Yeah.
If Toyota gave me one, I'd sell it.
Well, here's the funny thing. So I was doing some research to try and figure out, in between the first episode and this one, what percentage of BMW the new Supra was? What percentage of Z4?
100?
It's so much that you might as well just call it a Z4. It's basically
not a Supra.
And here's the interesting conclusion that I came to. In looking at the numbers, price of entry, weight, dimensions, options, power, like 0 to 60, all the things that matter to car guys,
Right.
the Z4 is just a better Supra. It costs less, and it's faster, and it's better appointed. It's just less exclusive.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't think any buyer was ever going to be torn between a Z4 and a Supra. But if you want to know what the difference is, the Z4 is just better.
The thing about it is
That's the difference.
the Z cars. Those Z cars are basically just BMW Miatas.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point.
Right.
Because they realized that they were missing a market.
So it's a hard top
but it's a hard top.
M4. It's a hard top Z4.
Yeah.
Is a Supra.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's nothing about it. Like, it is a BMW.
Yeah.
So, two things. Everybody's been talking about how the car did millions of dollars at Barrett Jackson. The car.
The 2.1 million.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
let's do this. I talked about this a little bit on Instagram, but it's a charity auction.
Right.
Your money goes to charity.
Right,
so if you're a
right.
millionaire, you just got a $2 million write-off in a free car.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So it's a proverbial measuring contest to see who's going to throw more.
Pissing contest.
Yes,
Yeah.
throw more money at the charity.
Yeah.
And I'm glad the charity did well, and I'm glad this guy got his first Supra.
But it has nothing to do with
But that thing's going in a vault,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so you know.
yeah.
And it's going to come out when he can make the most money on it.
Right.
He's never getting his money back.
No.
Okay. Now, it's a charity. The GT500 Shelby did the same thing. It didn't do as much money, but it's not as much hype behind another Mustang.
Right.
What I will say is, it's a charity. Don't go thinking that this car's worth $2 million.
Oh no, it's absolutely not a reflection on.
I don't think it's worth $20,000.
No.
To be honest with you, which is probably what it's going to be worth about a year after you buy it.
Well, what's interesting, what I was saying about the specs of the car, if the Supra sold for the announced 4 and 6 cylinder prices, the Z4 is still cheaper at 4 and 6 cylinders. But with the new inflation and them saying,
And
okay,
there won't be
it'll probably
any markup on the Z4 when it comes out.
what them
People
saying,
will buy one.
What people saying, oh, it's probably going to be 65. Now the Z4 is absolutely a better buy because it's already
Sure.
out. You know what I mean?
So this is the funny thing, and I found this hilarious. The guy walks up to one of the reps at Toyota at the show and says, so this car has a Toyota warranty,
Oh God.
right? And he said, and the rep goes, yeah. And he goes, so what's the warranty? And he goes, it's like 550, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, right? Which is better warranty than BMW's going to give you.
Maybe you should
So
buy
the
the
best
Supra.
part of that car is the warranty.
Yeah, maybe you should buy the
Much like European cars in general.
Yeah.
But so he goes, so it has roadside assistance, and I'm like, sitting here, this guy is rolling into something. Like, this guy's
You
got
can tell
a
he's
plan. And looking at
driving
the
to
guy,
something,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, there's a plan. So he goes, and the guy goes, yeah. So he says, and then I knew we were going in the hole. He goes, so when it breaks down, not if it breaks down, when it breaks down.
Yeah.
He goes, so when it breaks down, do they tow it right to the BMW dealer?
It's a valid question.
And the Toyota rep, who's probably more of a marketing guy than a car guy, I'm just going to go
Typical.
on that stretch.
That's typical
okay?
for other shows. Yeah.
He goes, no, they tow it to the Toyota dealer to repair it. He goes, well, the Toyota technician's going to know how to fix it? And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, because it's not a Toyota, it's a BMW.
No, yeah.
There's nothing on this car mechanically.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, our guys are trained to repair it. And he goes, well, you guys aren't trained to fix the Subarus you keep sending to our dealership.
Whoa.
And it turned out the guy was a Subaru Master Tech at a dealership in Michigan. And he's talking about how FRSs keep
Yeah,
getting
sure.
sent to the Subaru dealer
Yeah.
to be fixed correctly because the Toyota dealer doesn't know how to work on Subaru.
It's a Subaru engine.
And
yeah.
the difference between Toyota and Subaru is a lot closer
Oh, for
than
sure.
the difference between BMW.
Oh, for sure.
And
For sure.
So it's a train wreck.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. Maybe if you want a reliable Z4, you just buy the Supra because Toyota's warranty will probably outpace BMW's.
But it's like it's gonna break. Like you buy a Lexus. Who cares what the warranty is? You probably never use it.
well, and Lexus is. I mean, think about it. Like, how many of them are over 500,000 miles now? Like, they just
and then
they
we
just go and
and
go.
then we were
and go.
criticizing the fact that the transmission that they use in the C4 is the same transmission
ZF?
they use in a lot of Chrysler
Yeah,
products.
it's a ZF.
Like the Challengers and Chargers and stuff for the 8-speed manual.
Yeah.
So they're using a German even Dodge
Yeah.
won't go all BMW.
No.
They'll use their transmission,
Yeah.
and it's a problematic transmission to begin with. And what's funny is if you went into the Toyota booth,
Yeah.
right next to the Toyota booth was the Aston booth.
Oh wow, Eisen. Yeah,
I walked over. Is that pronounced?
I think you said Ashton or something.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I don't know, but it's not Japanese. But I walked over and I'm talking to the guy, and he's like, and they had this chrome version of the transmission that's in my RCF.
That's what I don't get though.
And I'm like, well, why didn't they use this? And he's like, and the guy from that company said, well, there's no other part from Japan in it.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
And they probably feel the bite too because they're building the LC transmissions, the RCS transmissions.
They already have contracts with Toyota.
Right.
It's just none of the Supra makes any sense.
I don't know what board meeting happened that this came up with being a good idea.
Yeah, no.
But I guess the finishing point is I wanted to wait and see it on my own.
Sure.
And it's not a bad looking car. I don't have the problem. That's the only thing I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think a lot of BMWs are bad looking cars either.
No, yeah.
It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
In the bad way. You know, it's more like a sheep in wolf's clothing. Yeah, it's a sheep in wolf's clothing. Because it's not a Toyota. It's just not. And there's no defending it.
What's tragic to me about the Supra as it's being unveiled is that when they first announced partnering up with BMW, I was of the mindset that, okay, well, I'm going to wait for the car to come out and see what I can find that's actually wrong with it. And the reality is that we're here having a discussion about what's not wrong with it.
There's a lot more.
We're trying to find what's good about it.
Yeah, I really want to be happy about this car, but it just can't. And I think you know, when Kyle looked at it, and his Mark IV is pretty nuts. And knowing a lot of guys who are super guys, and
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they're offending no one more than the loyalist Supra guys.
I told Kyle, I said, because Kyle's been looking for another car for his channel.
Sure.
And I said, you know, let's look at this car. Let's look at it because he can go out and buy one, and you know, with his status in social media, he can probably get a good deal on one and get one of the first cars. And
if you wanted one.
And I was there for 15 minutes, and I was like, why don't you just get a nice R34 GTT for the channel? Because you'll spend half the money and get way more followers.
And it's a relevant competitor to the car he already has.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot cheaper to fix. And
without a doubt, yeah.
And because originally our idea was to get one and bring it, because he lives in Florida.
Or
the new Supra.
Oh, okay.
He lives here in Florida.
Okay.
And he's in California for a couple months working out there, but he lives here and his car is registered here. Thank God with that stupid exhaust law. But we were going to road trip the car across country and like hit up Toyota dealerships and get oil change. You know, just do a nice run. And I'm like, no. And I think what's going to happen with a lot of YouTubers who will probably buy the cars, they'll buy it, they'll keep it for 6 months, and they'll sell it before anyone else actually gets theirs. There's only going to be 1,500 cars.
Yeah.
So that car is probably going to be worth as much money or more money than its sticker initially.
Yeah.
Until they start actually building them. And BMW isn't well known for their factory just banging things out the right way either. So don't be surprised if these things don't get delivered when they're supposed to be.
Well, and here's the thing too: is I very seriously was considering the FD1 concept Supra if it happened to come that.
Yeah.
But
cool car.
But it's
visually amazing.
Well, yeah, but it's so much a Z4 that I can think of no reason to buy a Supra. Just buy the Z4.
Go buy an M2.
Well, I mean, but if you like
cooler BMW,
if you wanted like a Grand Touring / kind of roadster type car, as I said, it's faster, it's cheaper, it has leather as standard. Like, why would I want a Supra?
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I guess the point is it's just a wreck. So
yeah, it's not yet.
We're not going to get one. Honestly, I'm going to be waiting, anticipating the tragedy that's going to be this thing's release, because they've already failed. So anything they do from here, whether it's the car doesn't get delivered on time or the car has issues,
it's going to make it worse.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So, guys, look at it. Don't buy it. It's a pretty car, but be prepared for the drama that's going to come.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys next week.